how are you doing? We are live. It's Sunday, December 18th is the time that we are filming this. So if you're watching on YouTube, of course, timestamps will be in the description. You can just click right to your readings that you would like to watch. And yeah, we're just going to wait for people to show up here. So hope you're doing great. Hey, baby doll, great to see you. Jessica Jensen, good to see you. Good afternoon. How are you doing? Ooh, sometimes I cough as I get into channel mode here or get ready for the live or readings, so happy to see you too. Hey kindness, how are you doing? Good morning. I'm gonna organize my signs here. Okay. Ooh, how is everybody doing? So needing this. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah. Ooh, gonna have to. So we haven't started yet. This has become my favorite part of Sunday. Oh, that's beautiful. That means a lot. Thank you. I'm really glad to hear that. So we're gonna start the collective soon. I might hang out for just a second longer because the second I said that, they were like, no. So anything we need to talk about before that? Okay, why don't we put the sign on the wall and let's start. Doing well, woke up on the right side of the bed, so to speak. Perfect, I'm glad to hear it. May that continue. How does it get even better than that? So, oh yeah, one thing I did want to do before we, I can put music now to the lives. That's interesting. There is so much they are adding to this. Okay, cool. So let's start. If you exist and are here, this is a collective reading, and so it's for you when you see it. The collective readings are for everyone typically, so it's the collective here. Whether you're watching now or if you're watching on YouTube when I download this and post that there. Of course, we'll be going through the all the signs by Zodiac elements. So. But they want to start with the collective. So let's jump in, I suppose. So let's see where they want me to start here. I have a bunch of channel messages, of course, ahead of time, and then my spirit guides, the angels, and source will bring through any additional information that's for your highest good as I go through these. So the first thing they started with was really interesting. And they're redirecting me. Okay, where are we going here? They're showing me a waterfall next. It reminds me of Niagara Falls. Actually, it doesn't really remind me of Niagara Falls. I haven't really been there, but they're giving me the words Niagara Falls in the visual as I'm looking at this waterfall. Excuse me, in my intuitive visuals. So what's the message here? One, if anything is, well, what's the best way to say this? If something's like falling in your life and you didn't want it to fall, or maybe metaphorically it's going over the water's edge and maybe you can't get it back, I really feel like it's just making space for something different. It's almost like divine intervention are the words I'm hearing, or it's for your highest good. So I really wouldn't worry about losing anything first and foremost. If you've been losing anything, or if you do lose anything soon after this reading, I feel like it's just making space. For some reason, the thing that's going over these waterfalls in my intuitive visuals, they look like trophies. So what does that mean for you guys? What's the highest message for you regarding that here? Sometimes, we will like cling to things in the past, but they don't mean anything anymore. Like it could be like a high school trophy, but it's like, I'm not trying to be callous, but the words I'm hearing are like, nobody cares is kind of the way the picture is being painted for me, so to speak, as I'm going through this message. So it's almost like time to make space for the new accomplishments in some ways, or, again, if something falls out of your life, it's just making space for more. The first thing they showed me ahead of time was a cow grazing, which is interesting, but the message they gave me was like, there is just more coming in for you. Sit tight. Like there are more opportunities, more everything. There's also a quick side message of don't waste your days. See how you can make the most of your time right now. So I want to clarify that a little bit if they will. I do like the message. I don't know what that has to do with cow with more coming in, but that's just what showed up. So, excuse me, my necklace is on backwards, and I just realized that probably looks silly because they're. I'm sorry to interrupt the reading, but they're energy tools, and sometimes it's nice to have something on my back and my front, but it looks a bit weird, probably to anyone else. But anyways, coming back to the message here. So there was just a quick message. There's more opportunities, a lot of more coming in for you. As far as what that has to do with cow here, I don't know if it does or if that's just a sign. As far as don't waste your days and see how you can make the most of your time right now, what does that mean? Or does we need to get more into that here? I feel like, if you're someone, this might not be for all of you, but if you're someone who doesn't have a lot going on right now, it can be pretty tempting to just kind of, I don't want to say waste away, but I don't know, like twiddle your thumbs, do nothing. And sometimes that's needed. And that's like a healthy thing to do, actually. I think just being and doing nothing can be great. At the same time, I feel like there's something you could be working on or working towards, whether it's on a personal level and on yourself, or it's just a personal project or art or something or a skill. So I would do your best to maximize your time in a healthy way where you still, if you feel like you need rest, you're still getting the rest you need if you have a lot of time right now. Next message here, they show me a rocket ship. And I feel like this has come up a lot in the past while since I started doing these readings. Because they just showed me a rocket ship. It was in space, and then there was like a path that this rocket... I don't know how rockets walk on paths, but it's an intuitive visual, so it's fine. But there's like a path that this rocket was supposed to go on, and it was just a message that you are all called in new directions soon. I feel like you have been for a while, some of you. And, when these show up all the time, for like all these different readings, it could just mean that that's something that's going on for a lot of people. There is just a message that, the collective is changing. The collective is going to need new things soon. So when you, metaphorically, as the puzzle piece you are and the collective get rearranged, there's a good reason for it. Like if there's a new path or you start dancing in a new way in life, it's supposed to help. If you're watching this and you do any type of light work or healing work or anything, or you're just a spiritual person holding that vibration, there's usually a reason you are where you are or doing what you're doing. If you're on this path, I feel like for all of you, that is the case. For all of you, that is the case that you're somewhere, wherever you are for a reason. I guess that's true for everybody, but sometimes it could just be more specific, I think. Anyways, what are we getting to here? What's the, with this? Okay. We were just talking about how the collective is rearranging and, you might just be in a new direction or dancing in a different way soon, which will be good. And that's been going on for a while. So some of you just aren't complete in going in your new direction is what I'd say. Next message here, is there more with rocket ship here? Some of you know what this is, if not all of you, whatever I'm talking about there. Next message, they showed me a popsicle. And so this one was interesting. They just said sometimes being like frozen, like if things freeze up for you in life a little bit or something freezes in life. And by freezes, or by frozen, what I mean is like something just stops, or maybe you have a lot of momentum and then it kind of slows down to a crawl. It's like, it isn't really bad if you feel caught up or unable to move forward right now. There could be something very important going on if you feel frozen in a certain area or just even in general in your life. And sometimes that's where the magic happens. And you know what? Sometimes life forces us to slow down so we heal or get realizations we need, or so we just don't go in a wrong direction. There's like a divine guidance to everything. Sorry, there's not like, there is, they're correcting me. There is a divine guidance to everything, and the divine kind of underrides everything. It is everything. So it makes sense everything's divinely guided in many ways and divinely orchestrated. So if there's a slowdown in anything, there's a reason, and don't beat up on yourself and think it's your fault. And, maybe on one hand it kind of is, but at the same time, maybe it's not, if that makes sense. Maybe there's a reason you made whatever move you made that made things slow down, and it wasn't just you. Not trying to shift blame or do anything weird like that, just trying to expand the eyes, I guess, on that. Next message here. So anything else we need to know about the frozen thing here? I would just not beat up on yourself if you feel like something's frozen or froze up on you. I do feel like, because the next message actually, it was about Dragonfire. They just said, that being said, you are not going to be able to stand still much longer, potentially in other areas that are not frozen, but it could be about what we just talked about as well. Like, you are going to be... Okay, I need to explain this one a bit more. But the message they said is you are going to be chopped down from your hanged man mode if you are in a hanged man mode. I feel like it's actually separate from the frozen message. This is about... I want to say the business is the word that almost popped out of my mouth as I was talking about this. But it's about an area that's more action oriented, that has a lot of doing involved, like work or business or something like that. So if you've been hung up on something, or not moving forward when you know you should be, or hanged man mode, and it's something I've heard tarot readers talk about, where it's like, the tarot card hanged man, where they like put themselves upside down on like hung upside down from a tree or something, and it's called hanged man mode, where you just kind of step back to get like clarity on something, or to get enlightenment on something. So I feel like if the words I'm hearing as I say that are, it's time to end that cycle. If you've been doing that over and over and over again, it's one thing. For others, it's really like, if you've been in that phase for a long time, or you feel hung up on something, I feel like you're going to be chopped down. Not like you're chopped down in a negative way, but you're chopped down from hanging from the tree, and you'll be called forward, if that makes sense. And it could be a different area than the one that's frozen, by the way, is something they want to clarify. Next message here, they show me a dog, and the word they showed me was loyal with the dog. It was just a message to remain loyal to your vision, and let that be your guide. Of course, let your guides be your actual guides, like your spirit guides. But there's a couple different messages with this one. It's just... Okay, the last part of this was let your vision expand and don't keep things small. So there were like 3 different messages with this one. And I'm sorry for the creaking upstairs if you hear that through the mic. So with remaining loyal to your vision, the thought or the sense I was getting when that one channeled down while I was channeling it down and typing these out, was kind of just this, and I don't know if it's the answer. I'm going to double check with them in a second too, but it was along the lines of, when you're just like, you have like a vision or something you're going for. It could even be like a tunnel vision. You're like, we're going this way. And then, maybe you get in a relationship, and then you're like, oh, but I want to... I don't want to leave this person behind. I don't want to let this person down. And you can kind of lull yourself a little bit out of the vision, or maybe you start to be loyal to someone else's something instead of maybe your vision, or maybe you try to do both. I don't know. But that was kind of a quick sense I was getting about the message when I was channeling it down, where it's I would just remain loyal to your vision and not let people nudge you out of that. And what else do they want to say about it to clarify it fully for this? Good. I think sometimes we also just get bored of our vision and what we're going for. I would keep going towards it anyways. And by vision, what I mean is like, what are you looking to manifest? What direction are you looking to go in life? If you have one, is there like a dream or just something you desire that you'd like to move towards? That is kind of what I'm talking about with the word vision. As far as letting your vision expand and don't keep things small, I suppose that's like, sometimes our vision evolves as time goes on, and maybe sometimes we think something is wrong if it's, what's the best way to say this? Maybe we're sold a certain vision, or maybe someone tells us about something that we're going to do and we get really fixated on it. They're just kind of saying, don't pigeonhole your vision based on others or yourself. Like, it's kind of like seeing life as or source as your coworker, and letting it expand and be worked on with you, and letting it be all that it can be, instead of maybe like a limited, what's the best way to say this? A limited version of it, I suppose you could say. I feel like I am like spinning in circles with this message, so I'm going to move to the next one here. So I don't have the full channeled message on this one yet. I think I moved on, but they'll just probably channel it through now. After dog came cat, which was funny, and they gave me the word feisty. So what's going on with the cat? What would be the highest message for you regarding the cat here? I feel like if things have been feisty for you, they're going to calm down. I don't feel like this is a good feisty, but that's just the quick message I'm getting with that when I sit with it. The other thing they're talking about with cats is how they are very balanced. Like, you know how they can walk on like a little fence post and, you know, they can just do it. They don't fall off. They don't, you know, lean to the side. And I know sometimes cats get like awkward and clumsy, but it's like rare. It's like it's not the norm. So why are we talking about the balance with the cats here? What's going on? I feel like you're more balanced than you realize in a lot of ways, or you will be. There might be a challenge that, like, for instance, like the cat jumping up on a fence that's really skinny and it has to stay balanced on it. Like, the way it's presenting to me is like that could be like a challenge that you're looking at and you think it's like difficult, but if you like do it, it's like it's balanced and easy, kind of like it's easy for a cat to balance on like a fence post. So there might be some challenges that seem difficult but aren't, and I feel like you should take those on. I feel like you'll probably know what those are moving forward is something I'm getting. I feel like some challenges, of course, are difficult, but not these ones. And I feel like this has to do with a business or work in some way, maybe a family, but that's what I'm hearing, interestingly enough. And I just want to say you are balanced in some ways. I know like it's kind of a group of people. I know you're all in different places doing different things. So I feel like you're either balanced or you will be in that way. Next message before I beat a dead horse with that one. Corn was what they showed me, just like a cornfield. And the word was common, but the message was like the world is becoming less common. And what does this mean? Things are going to become more weird in the world. And they also said expect change. They also said like you as a being are becoming less common, like you are becoming rarer in a good way. It's like your value is expanding, or what you're becoming is rare in a good way. I feel like that's a really good thing to work towards. I feel like the world needs more of that. I feel like, what's the best way to say this in general here? As far as like the world becoming weirder and like less common, what I was kind of sensing and seeing when this message was channeling down was, it was kind of along the lines of, you know how we have had the world a certain way for a certain amount of time, and it's like a certain way society works. I know things have been constantly changing, but bear with me. It's like a certain level of technology, and it's like as the world becomes less common or less how things have been and how things have commonly been for us, things get a little bit weird, things get a little bit shaken up potentially. It's kind of like that is what's going on, and I feel like we are being called to be weird as well. Otherwise, the world leaves us behind in a weird way. I don't think the world's going to leave all of you behind or anything like that. I feel like you're going to match the world and be called in the right directions for you at the right time. But I feel like things are becoming weird. You're becoming weird, but this is a good thing. It's a good weird. As we said, it's rare in a good way. And I would move towards that if you feel called towards that. And what does that mean if you need a deeper meaning to that? It could be you're doing something that not a lot of people do. It could be you're working on yourself to a level that not a lot of people work on themselves to, or building a business no one's ever seen before. It could be a lot of different things. But again, it reminds me of the message that came through at the beginning, is like the collective is shifting and changing. So the collective is going to need new things. And I know I'm using collective in two different contexts. I'm using collective as in like this collective, everyone like showing up for this reading and watching this. But when I'm talking about that collective, I'm talking about like the world and like what the world needs and what people in the world need as that collective shifts is what I'd say. So keep that in mind. I'm going to end the collective reading there. I'm surprised the sign stayed on the wall that long. So I hope that was helpful, and whatever was for that is good for it to do. Yeah, hopefully that was just helpful as a quick brush up, I suppose. And we are going to move to the fire signs after I drink some coffee here. And they want to jump right into the fire. So I know that was a bit shorter than some of the collective readings normally are. Excuse me and my stuffy nose. So if you have a fire sign, sun, moon, or rising, hey, Jen Wesselman, totally resonated. Perfect. Thank you for letting me know. So fully flag's good. We're going to move to the fire signs, sun, moon, or rising. So if that's you, this is for you when you see it, and we will delve. And I only say that for anyone live with me who hasn't been with these before. I say that because these go up on YouTube as well. So it's for you now. If you're live, it's for you when you see it on YouTube. If you see it on YouTube. But the first message that's coming, the first word they gave me for the fire signs, we are redirecting a little bit, and that's okay. That one doesn't like to stick. The sign. What's the message here for you? So show me like a field with like fire, and sometimes they use like, they're kind of clever with the messages and do puns and stuff like that. But there's this field, it was like on fire, and then there was this character with like a soccer ball while this field was on fire. It was like a soccer field. So let me see what the message is for you, fully if that's good, before we move into whatever else they want me to get into. What's going on here? You know, sometimes I know there's a lot of different meanings we could talk about with fire, but in this instance, sometimes things catch on fire to redirect us. If you think of like a main character in a story, I suppose like one example I could use that's not like the perfect example are like the Hunger Games, where, you know, they're in that dome or whatever, and then the people who are controlling the field of, if you've seen the Hunger Games movies. I've never read the books. Don't shoot me. I just watched some of the movies, and I remember they would like turn up a fire if someone started getting too close to like the edge of the field or the competition, to redirect the people, the players away from the edge of the arena, I guess. And I'm not saying that's of course that's literally not what's happening, probably. But if something just like catches on fire in your life, or just like goes to crap, it's probably redirection. And like I feel like there's a particular path the universe has for you right now. And if you stray too far from it, it's like something catches on fire to redirect you. And you know what? Like, sure, you have free will. You can walk through the fire if you want to, but it's not going to be fun. It's not the way you're supposed to go. I would just kind of work with the divine instead. Why you being headstrong is what I don't think that's going to be you, but I would just trust the path that sends you on. And some of you know exactly what I'm talking about as I'm talking about this. So the next message I have here, they gave me the word heal. They said healing the wounds that have never been healed. That is what's coming next. So sometimes we feel salt on a wound we never knew we had, whether we're triggered by something. We're like, why am I triggered by Jeff Bezos or whatever people are triggered by nowadays? And you kind of have to dig in and see like, oh, it's because my mom didn't give me money as a kid. That's a silly example. But the next part of this is, if anything like that is happening, know that this is going to heal soon. So sometimes we don't realize certain wounds are there because we're not ready to heal them. They're like buried really deep within us. I feel like you've been doing a lot of work on you, most of you, and you've been uncovering a lot of this. And sometimes we're surprised when there's another layer. Sometimes like I'll talk about certain things and then I'll get all these other things I've heard about pop in, but it's not really a channel message. It was just a thought about, I don't think it's important. What would be highest much for me to get to here? Next. So again, like you might be feeling almost like salt on wounds you never really know you had, metaphorically, probably more emotionally or maybe energetically. And again, that's going to be healing soon, and it's just showing you what's next to be healed is what I'm getting here. Next message here. Should we talk about the other thing that popped in? Nope. So they just showed me ice, and we did have a message in the collective reading about like being frozen, and they kind of elaborated on this for the fire signs, where like any frozenness is temporary. If you're frozen in some area, it's because you're healing something, kind of like the first message. And then the next thing that showed up, and we kind of went on well, you'll see. Elephant showed up, our good friend Elephant, and like came through in the collective. It's about a new path or new horizon. And I feel like, well, here's what came through. Elephant, spirit animal, is trying to show you around an obstacle that isn't allowing you to see clearly or isn't helping you to see clearly. Expect doors to open. So there's a kind of a lot or a good amount in that besides just the sentences, because there's almost like implications in there. You know what I'm saying. And so what would be highest must for me to bring through in regards to this, in addition to this here? So the way they're showing it to me, there's one particular way it's showing up where someone's like keeps trying to, and it's probably you, go through like an obstacle. And for some reason, this obstacle looks like a giant mushroom in my intuitive visuals because it reminds me of the phrase banging your head up against a wall. But this person keeps trying to like walk forward, but there's clearly a giant like mushroom in their path. Like I'm talking like giant, like tree size. And like they just keep trying to walk forward, and Divine's like, no, you can't walk through the mushroom. And you try to walk through it, and Divine's like, no, you can't walk through the mushroom. And so one way it showed up is like then these doors appear on either side of you, and you're able to kind of walk around it through an opportunity that shows up for you, whether it's work is something they're showing me, instead of you banging your head up against a wall or trying to do the same thing that's not working. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about, is what I'm hearing. The other way this could play out, is there, what else would be highest much for me to ring through that's fully accurate? To help you out here. I should probably just voice those questions in my head when I'm doing these instead of out loud, but I think sometimes you just don't realize you aren't, sometimes people don't realize they aren't seeing clearly, but I feel like you're about to see very clearly is another thing that I'm getting. They're almost showing, there's a couple different examples. They're showing someone looking out a window and there's just a big tree in front of the window and they're like, wow, what a beautiful view. But it's like they don't even really see the view. And I think if you like trees, that's fine, but that's not what this is about. It's like you kind of need to see beyond the tree. The other thing they're showing me is, those like videos or those memes where there's like a dog that goes and like looking out the window and then the other dog is kind of just going along with what the other dog's doing. And he's like staring out like the wall as if he's staring out a window, but he's just staring at a wall. I feel like the universe is leading you away from that, where you're just kind of staring at a wall, thinking you're seeing something. Weird message. And I'm not trying to call you dumb or anything like that, because that's not it. It's more just sometimes people are in that zone in life, so I don't blame you. Next message here, before I waste too much time on that. So is there anything else we need to get to on the new path or new horizon with that? I feel like that's what those opportunities and doors are about. Or you're getting a new opportunity, that's a new path, some of you. Next message here, anything else with that? I just also want to elaborate. If something's not working in your life, stop doing it, is what I'd say. Like that, as far as like beating your head up against a wall. Next message here, alligator showed up. Alligator, spirit animal. The message was fierce. They gave me the word fierce, and they said, it's not a time to be a doormat. In any situation, it is time to stand firm with boundaries. Kind of makes sense because we're posting this around the time of the holidays, so that could be about family, but it could be about anything. So don't let people walk all over you. Like it's so not worth it. And you're teaching people how to treat you. And if you're teaching people you're a doormat, like why would you expect anything different in the future unless that other person is someone who's aware and works on themselves and is with their awareness or their intuition or however they work, realizes like, oh, they don't want to be a doormat. That's just, and they don't feel comfortable with this. They just don't know how else to be, or they're not setting boundaries. So you don't always find that in people. So just be okay with setting boundaries and being fierce with that right now. And even being fierce in your, we have to balance this, fierce in your direction, not in a way where you keep walking into the wall or the mushroom, or, but in a way where you're holding to your vision long term, even if you have to be flexible in how you get there. And I'm also hearing something like not letting other people paint your life for you. And I feel like that could mean a couple different things. One, not letting people reframe how you see life so that it's a negative, instead of keeping a frame that's for your highest good. Not letting people change your reality. So it could even be energetic boundaries in some ways that this is talking about. But two, it's what else is it here? I just think sometimes people try to pull you in their direction, and you don't need that, is what I'd say. You can walk on parallel paths with people where they're doing something else and you're doing your thing, and it just kind of, maybe you can run to your dreams each respectively together. But don't get pulled into someone else's dreams and realities. I would stick with yours, is something I'm getting as well, if you need to hear that. Next message, Rhino, showing up here. And there were kind of a couple different messages, because the word that showed up at first was nurture. Because rhinos can be nurturing mammals, like I suppose most mammals. But the more of the long message that they had was they showed like in my intuitive visuals a rhino like biting onto someone's shirts and like dragging them forward, showing them like it's okay to move forward. So one of the messages, like in some ways in your life, it's also okay to proceed. Like you might be dragged forward in your life, or you will be, especially where you are reluctant in some way to move forward. And I feel like all these different messages are probably talking about something a little bit different, because there might be an area of life you feel frozen temporarily where you're healing something. You might have another area where you're banging your head against the wall. And you might have another area where you're reluctant to do something or move forward or heal something, or they're also showing it going with an option in your life, but it looks like a love situation. Like maybe you're reluctant to like go on a date or date someone, but maybe you actually want to date someone, but you're reluctant for some reason. Something they're showing me. It's like, I feel like in some way, shape, or form where you're reluctant, right now it's going to be like dragging you forward and like, hey, this way, it's okay. Especially like regarding a change you've been reluctant to make is what I'm getting. So that's something that's coming in. As far as the nurture message, I would really nurture you and make sure you are nurtured and have like your nutrients squared away, like your nutrition, have what you need to nurture you in your life, and make sure that the people around you are nurturing, or you're surrounding yourself with people who are nurturing. I know not everyone is meant to be a nurturer supreme mother figure in life, and it would be probably a little bit much if every single person was, but surround yourself with nurturing things right now is what I'd say. I feel like that will be helpful. Next message, Grasshopper showed up again. I think he showed up like every week in these readings the past like month or two, and like 4 to 5 weeks. And pretty much this is a different message though. It's about healing from a wound. The message, I'm going to ask them to remind me what this... Okay, I remember now. Because the visual they were showing me was this grasshopper, and he was kind of in these like imperfect circumstances. Like he was leaping from really weird spots, but he was still doing it. And the message was like, not everything has to be perfect for you to succeed. And sometimes I think we think everything has to be just right for us to succeed in some... That was probably a weird way to... Nah, it's fine. Sometimes we think everything needs to be just right in order for us to succeed. Excuse me. Like it has to be like 73 degrees and the perfect temperature outside. And I don't know, our crush Seth has to say the perfect thing to us. And your mom has to call you and wish you good tidings. And then you need to wake up at exactly 7 p.m. every day. And then you need to do your magical ritual, spinning 3 times and doing a backflip in order to be successful. But sometimes we're in imperfect circumstances, and it's, -5 degrees outside, and our crush doesn't text us or whatever. I don't know. It's just the weird story popping in as I'm explaining this message. But it's okay to like leap from imperfect places, or things don't have to be perfect for you to be successful or to succeed in something or you to move forward. And sometimes it's a trap to wait for everything to be perfect. So I would not do that. I would be taking action in the ways you feel called to take action when it's time to take action, regardless of that, and make sure things are good enough, of course. But that's kind of it with that message. Next message here. Is there anything else with Grasshopper? They're showing this grasshopper changing colors, like it's green, but then it kind of turns like a weird grasshopper camo. And one of the messages for you is you don't have to stay the same. Anyone who's telling you have to stay the same is lying, and I don't know why that's coming through, but it is. So don't feel like you need to stay the same your whole life or be the same person your whole life. That's in some ways could even be a waste of time. Like you're meant to transform is something I'm getting. And you're also more adaptable if you're able to change shape metaphorically, change colors in your life metaphorically. And I'm not telling you to be like a chameleon in a negative way. I'm just saying to allow yourself to change and not stick yourself into having to be the same way your whole life. I think some people get caught in that trap because they had like one good thing happen when they were a particular way, but then life is calling them to dance in a different way. And if you don't do that, you're not keeping up, is the way I'm hearing it, interestingly enough. Next message here, spaceship is what they showed me, which came through in a few of these readings, I think. But the message is like a launch, like you're headed towards a launch soon, or you are going to be getting a lot of good things coming your way. Well, both of those. You're headed towards some type of launch. You are going to be getting a lot of good things coming your way. I feel like that's been coming through a lot for the fire signs, which is good. I would hope that and wish that for you guys, and anything else that would be good to come through. Fully flies good while we're here. So while we're here, we're gonna pull a card. 1 second here. Whoop. So we have the Fool coming out here, which kind of makes sense with the word launch. I know I pull cards in a weird way, but it works. So it works for me. Don't worry about it. The Fool coming out as like the first card here. Time to take a leap of faith is something I'm getting. They're really putting my eyes to the 0 up top here because the Fool is, I guess, card 0. 0 can also symbolize a restart. I remember one time synchronistically where 0, like the repeating like angel number like 000, is actually 4 zeros showed up. Was I was actually breaking up with someone, and it had been on the table. We'd been talking about it for a few months, and then the other person wanted me to make a decision on it. And they were like, yeah, I'll just kind of go with what you say. And it was very amicable. But when I kind of hit the point where I was like, yeah, I think like it would be best if we broke up. We were in the car and she was driving. And right as I was saying it, started to say it, this car drove, it was like a highway. This car drove past us and the license plate was 000. It was some letters and then letters and then 000. It was 4 zeros. And it was kind of like the breakup. That was the number. I'm not saying 0. If you see zeros, you're going to break up with someone or be broken up with, but I mean, maybe, but it's kind of about that restart or that new beginning, or maybe an ending that leads to a new beginning. And some of you are getting some type of fresh starts. I'm not saying you're going to get broken up with or you're going to break up with someone, but that's just one message that's kind of coming in here. I do feel like this has been a common message right now, but I feel like you're ending a phase as well. And what's up with that ending a phase here? I feel like that's part of what the 0 represents. And that's kind of why there probably are going to be a lot of new beginnings up ahead in the next couple years. And like you might even get like a lot of restarts, or like maybe you start something, you stop and do something else. But I feel like it's all leading somewhere. I don't feel like any of it is for nuts. I feel like you should take those leaps anyways. Because it all adds up to something, is something I'm getting. So I would also another message I'm hearing is don't see your life as a waste. Even if you don't always finish everything is something I'm getting as well, if you need to hear that. There is more with the Fool though. It's about a new direction as well, if we didn't already talk about that, because I think we did. And what else is going on with this Fool card here? This kind of links back to the Rhino message where the Rhino was like pulling you forward. I feel like if you get to the edge of something and it's time to take a leap, I feel like there's no going back is the message. I feel like you like need to leap or like make that change. So don't hesitate on taking a leap you feel guided to. I feel like it's a safe leap. Like it's probably like a good, like educated leap, as opposed to like I'm quitting my job on a whim with 0 savings. Like I don't know if I'd recommend doing that unless you know you'll be good, but I feel like that's it. And one more card. 2 of Cups popping out here for you guys. And what's the message here with the 2 of Cups? Fully, that's good. The good news is, I know this is not the typical meaning of 2 of Cups at all, but they're showing 1 cup overflowing your cup, and you'll be able to fill other people's cups as a result. And that's one of the things that's coming in, interestingly enough. The other word they give me is soulmates. I know 2 of Cups can be about like a soulmate relationship or something along those lines. I feel like you're going to be meeting someone important soon. I mean, it could be a friend, it could be a lover. I'm not getting like one particular thing, and you're all in different spots in life as I'm doing this reading. But I feel like you're going to be the words I'm hearing, you're going to be meeting someone important soon that you need to meet that helps you in some way or brings healing or maybe helps spur on the next chapter of your life, which will be good. I really want to highlight friendship though, for some reason, because for some of you it's like a lover if you're single, and for others of you it's like it's a friendship, which is interesting here. And last card is Ace of Wands. Again, another card of a new beginning here, but it's kind of like a passionate new beginning is a way this card is typically read, or the words that are popping in for me. I feel like what I want to hear, if I can get the words out right, what I want to say, the words I'm hearing, like if you get an offer or an opportunity, especially if you feel passionate about it, I would take it. It kind of links back with the Fool card and the Leap of Faith. It's like it's the right way is something I'm getting. There's also like all these like nebulas in the background of the card in this particular deck. Like if you can see it, I feel like you can. And the words I'm hearing are you might be being pulled away from things that are really nebulous in your life or abstract and into things that are really concrete. So if you have like an abstract direction you want to go in, it might be solidified a bit more, or maybe things seem a bit amorphous for you right now, but things are going to ground in a bit more and you'll have like a concrete direction with this new beginning is something I'm hearing. I don't feel like I'm totally hitting this message perfectly, but what's the best way for me to say this? Fully fly is good. Well, they're just clarifying, like, just know you're headed towards a passionate new beginning. That's the main message. And they're kind of telling me to end it there. So there might be one more message. They're going back to the grasshopper here. And what's going on here? They just want to remind you, don't wait till the perfect temperature to take the leap. Do it when it feels right, regardless of perfect or imperfect circumstances. And I would know you'll be taken care of is what I'm getting, especially if you're like changing jobs or job hopping or something like that. So hope that was helpful and did whatever was for the highest good for it to do for you. They're showing me grounding as like a last message. I know sometimes I go to close readings and there's like, here's 20 more messages. Here we go. But with the grounding here, I would stay grounded right now. That doesn't mean like don't do spiritual things or don't, if you channel, it doesn't mean don't channel or anything like that. It's more like there might be a lot of opportunities to get ungrounded, and I would try to stay grounded if you can. Or ground after, if you find yourself ungrounded, ground is, I'm going to close it there. Hope that was helpful. Did whatever is for the highest good for it to do for you. I'm going to move to the earth signs here. I'm going to take a quick second to sip on coffee and stuff. You'll get a job, MCR Freak Show. Other vibes. That was amazing. Thank you, Brandon. You're welcome. I hope I'm saying this. I glam you. That makes. Do you do makeup? That makes sense. That wasn't channeled or intuitive. That was just I was making sense of the username in my head. But yeah, thank you, little lady. 2028. I appreciate that. Thank you, Jay Foxy. I appreciate the confirmation. I know I tend to. Shanae Dunn, you said your old job is wanting you back, but you don't know. I was kind of getting, well, would it be for that if you go back to the job? I'm kind of getting it would be temporary if you do. You should probably, if you have a job right now, stay where you're at is what I'm getting, but you can sit with that and do whatever else you do to make choices. But that's what I'm hearing for you. But let's move on to the earth signs. Because if I get wrapped up in personal readings, we'll be on a long train. That all really resonated with me. I'm feeling like the rhino today. Nice, perfect. I'm so glad to hear it though. I love your devotion to being a conduit. Thank you. That is one of my purposes here is what I am hearing, and a big one. I feel like otherwise I would be lost in life is the words I hear as well. Should we start the earth sign readings yet? Yep. Okay, we are doing it. So, if you have an earth sign, well, I'm going to get this up here. Okay. If you have an earth sign, sun, moon, or rising, sorry, my perfectionism's kicking in. If you have an earth sign, sun, moon, or rising, this is for you when you see it. And I'm going to just go through the channel messages I have for you here. And of course, my spirit guides, the angels, and source will bring through any additional information that's for your highest good as I go through these. And give me 1 second here. Okay, so the first thing that came... Okay, sorry. Let's start now. The first thing that came through for you was they just showed like this a concept. It was a spaceship actually, and it was in space. And there's all this like turbulence and like these. Now they're showing like little asteroids bumping off the spaceship, and these like little warning sirens going off in the spaceship as they do in sci-fi movies and stuff. And they were showing this spaceship is very vivid in front of like it looked like it was a planet that looked like Saturn, and maybe it wasn't Saturn, but it looked like Saturn with like the rings and stuff. And this all of a sudden like the things smoothed out and the spaceship was like smooth. So if you've gone through a turbulent period, there is a lot of turbulence smoothing out, and that's really the message they gave me was like things kind of smoothing out and turbulence smoothing out. I feel like you're on a new track. You're on a smoother track, and maybe you don't realize it yet. And sometimes people or we have these habits to like freak out about things that used to be a big deal or maybe something collapsed in our life, at a past time when we saw these signs or something, but then this time it's not going to collapse. So I feel like things are going to be a lot better than you think. And in some ways you're like freaked out over nothing is something I'm getting as well as a message for most of you or all of you tuning in. So the good news is the turbulence smoothing out. Next message here, they want me to pull a card now, which is not usually how we do this, or the order I do this in, but whatever. Emperor showing up for you here. So as far as the message, with the Emperor showing up here, I feel like you're going to be, this is not the normal message with the Emperor, but it's not the normal card meaning. You're going to be sitting pretty, kind of like this Emperor is sitting pretty. I know his eyes look a little bit shifty, like he looks a little bit suspicious in the card. I wouldn't worry about that. As far as the other messages that are coming through along with this card here, this is actually also along the lines of the turbulence smoothing out, like you're going to be more in control, or you're going to feel more in control, or the universe is giving you a bit more of the reins in your life. And sometimes the universe takes over and grabs the reins, or it's kind of half and half. He's like, okay, where do you want to go? I'll help you get there. But I also have a hand on the reins, and it's not going to be just your way, or your, however you want to quantify it. But the universe is giving you the reins a little bit more. It's like it trusts you, are the words I'm hearing, interestingly enough. So I also see you stepping up into leadership in some way, like more, or just stepping into this energy in a positive light more, which is good too, which is leadership, being in charge. Emperor can also indicate being like at a high level in life, as opposed to like someone being, how readers read the cards, like someone's a page, they're just a lowly page, blah blah blah, which is not really how they read. It's not like someone's a lowly page, or it's just more like maybe they're not as evolved in this situation, or they're not up on your level or something like that. But this is you, and this is where you're headed, which is awesome. So that's good. Large and in charge. For some reason this Emperor is holding in the gold and black tarot. I'm sure this would make more sense on what this looks like in the normal artwork, but it looks like it looks like a sphere of some type, but it looks like a bomb in the gold and black tarot. Like there's a little like nozzle with like the little rope sticking out of it, like like a video game bomb or something from like the Legend of Zelda or something. And so what's the message here? I'm hearing the words explosive growth, and I want to take a second to make sure I'm getting the right message for you here. It's kind of a weird message where this Emperor, like in my intuitive visuals, he has this bomb in his hand, and he can kind of explode a lot of things if he chose to, but he's kind of keeping his cards close to his chest. He's kind of just like toying with this bomb in his hand, like it's kind of just tossing it up and around a little bit, like someone might do with a baseball, or like something heavier, like a bowling ball, maybe even. And as far as what the full message is, with this, I feel like you could blow a lot of things up for people right now if you wanted to, but I feel like you're going to be honorable, which is probably a good choice. But I would also just know that you hold the power, and I wouldn't really give this bomb away or give your power away, or I don't like this message, but give people things they can use against you. And what do I mean by that? It just might be a good time to, no, that's not I'm so sorry. Let me stay with it just a second longer. I would not give people things that they can use against you. I'd keep some of your cards close to your chest. Weird message, but let's move back to just channeling the messages through without the cards here. So the next message here, orange, showed up, and where should I go next here? I'm so sorry. I'm being guided to pick another card. Ace of Swords coming out here with Six of Swords behind it, and New Beginning is what I'm getting with this Ace of Swords here. I'm also seeing like someone cutting a bunch of bullshit away with the sword is something I'm getting as well. And I feel like this came through in a different reading in the channel messages for the air signs, but with the crown, it's like you're being crowned, which makes sense with the Emperor card and you stepping up into that energy. I feel like you're much more metaphorically royal than you realize in the etheric. I feel like you hold a lot more power than you realize. I feel like, and I would own that. The other thing with this card, besides New Beginning and cutting bullshit away, what else is going on with this card and you? Fully for that's good. I would, if there's a way you can head towards this, which is clarity and a new beginning, I would. I feel like the universe is cutting a lot of the things that are in your way away, which is probably not the typical meaning of Ace of Swords, but whatever, that's what I'm hearing. So the next thing that I got here is channel messages ahead of time was an orange. They showed me an orange. They said, you know, if there's like one, it's like that one thing is the way they painted it. Like if there's that one emotional thing that keeps bothering you, it's like a thorn in your side or something, like that thorn is going to be leaving your side, which is good. So emotions balancing out regarding like that one trigger or that one thing that just won't go away that you're sad about or keeps you up at night or anything like that. I feel like you're healing that, which is good. Sometimes it's not yours is the other thing to keep in mind. And they're kind of, what's the highest best thing for me to say about this here? You can't, there are different ways to deal with things that are not yours in life. There's one thing I want to say, but they're kind of saying maybe I shouldn't say it. So I want to double check on what would be highest most for me to say here to help you out with that. If it's my role to do that right now, what would be highest most for me to say here? Because like the one thing that keeps playing in my head is it's from Access Consciousness, and they talk about it a lot where it's like, you know, a lot of the thoughts that show up, a lot of the emotions aren't yours. It's things you're picking up on from other people or from the world or something like that. And what they talk about is what they call it as like an access tool, as pretty much like if you realize you're dealing with something that's not yours, you'd be like, okay, please return to sender, or, you know, return to sender, you know, is what they'll talk about. And that's something you could try if you have something that's just not yours. And as far as how do you discern whether it's yours or not, if you're newer to this, that might be where I don't know, they don't want me to recommend looking it up for some reason, but I want to recommend looking it up. So I'm feeling a little bit of a push-pull on that one. So what would actually be highest and best for me to say here? Like you can, if you're newer and you need something to go off of, maybe look up Return to Sender, Access Consciousness on YouTube or something, or a book like Being You, Changing the World Is Now the Time is a good one from them that I like, but they don't always like when I recommend it. So maybe there's something there or something I should be a little bit more wary of when I recommend those things. As far as what else I could recommend to help you here, I'd say like if you realize it's something that's not yours, it's bothering you and you realize it, I would just kind of focus on it and say, look, okay, return to sender for the highest good. Thank you. And it kind of goes back to where it originates. And it's not like you're attacking people. It's not like you're sending like crap back at them or something. Like it's just returning it back to whence it came so that person, the origin of it can deal with it, I suppose you could say, in a way that's for the highest good. And maybe I'm not explaining it perfectly, but that's a gist, I suppose. Next message here, a lion showed up for your reading, and there's a lot of okay, not going to say it. With lions showing up, the word was bravery, and it was kind of this message of sometimes one act of bravery is all that's needed to change everything. One conversation, one move in work or business, one fear faced, it can change the tides. So anywhere you are avoiding facing something, try facing it. So it could be in business, like excuse me, doing something that you haven't done yet, but you've always wanted to do, but maybe you've been a little bit afraid, but now's the time. Or a conversation in work that's a boundary with a coworker, or going to HR with an issue, but you've been scared to, or talking with your boss about something that's bothering you, but it scares you. Can I swear here? I don't know. It scares scares the crap out of you a little bit. And I wouldn't force anything if you're too terrified, but if you can edge past it just a little bit and be a little bit brave, I feel like you could change something or change a lot by being brave with something you've been avoiding doing that takes a bit of bravery, but would change everything if you did it, whether it's a conversation or trying something new or setting a boundary or something like that. So anywhere that's resonating for you and you're like, oh yeah, there is that one thing, I would do it, is what I'm getting. And if nothing shows up for you yet, sit with it for a while and something will probably show up in the future here, or in the next week. They said next week. So next message here, buffalo. Is there more with lion though? Nope. I would just face things head on. With buffalo, spirit animal showing up. There was a message that all of your life will make sense, not just the good parts. And white buffalo woman also showed up as like I don't know if it's a deity or ascended master or how, I don't remember, but maybe Google her and check out her meaning. Cause I feel like she could be working with you or a lot of you. And I don't feel like you need to worry about that, but I feel like I've heard of her first from like one of those, probably like a Kyle Gray Oracle card deck, like an Ascended Masters one or something like that, but I can't remember. It could have been like Alana Fairchild, one of her card decks, but there's a couple things I want to get into in addition to all that, because with Buffalo, the reason this message comes up with Buffalo is, there's something I heard of a story along the lines of the Native Americans would use all parts of a buffalo, like this, they'd use the organs as like a sack to hold things. They'd use the bones for tools. They'd use the meat for food, of course. So like no part would be wasted. And that's kind of what they were talking about with this message. Like all of your life is going to make sense, not just the bad parts, the good parts, all of it. And like none of it's wasted, I suppose you could say. Like it's all going to make sense in retrospect, why it all played out that way. I feel like you're also healing from a lot of things that went wrong through that process. And I feel like I'm getting a little bit off track from where they wanted me to go because they're kind of like, no, as I keep saying this, but it's, so where do you guys want me to go? That's good here. Really all they need you to know is all of your life is going to make sense here. It was probably unnecessary that I went into that story. Next message here. In that story about the buffalo, I got that from my mom because she's a therapist, and that's just what she said that's something she tells her clients. And so sometimes my spirit guides will reiterate that message where it needs to go or something similar. Next message here, eagle spirit animal showed up, and it's time to fly for the earth signs. No time for excuses. What would you like to do? Move towards it. It is time to move. So if that wasn't abundantly clear with like the lion and some of the other messages, that's something showing up as well. A lot of spirit animals showed up for some of these readings. So giraffe was the next one that showed up. He shows up all the time. I think they, never mind. But they were pointing to the giraffe's spots. And sometimes you don't realize how weird you are until you're around people who don't know that you're weird or don't know you, or people who aren't used to you. They just said to be you anyways. Don't worry about it. You're supposed to be like weird in that good way. It's like encouragement to be yourself around people you don't know is what I'm hearing. It's kind of like letting your spots shine. The way that was playing out was like, how giraffes, like, I think we're used to it because of the imagery. We see it in childhood. We see it at the zoo. We see it in books. But if you were just kind of, if you were in North America or wherever you are, well, some of you might be in like South Africa or Africa. And then if you were in somewhere that was not Africa and you'd never seen other animals besides what was normally in North America, and then all of a sudden you moved or traveled to Africa and saw a giraffe, you'd be like, that thing is weird. It's got a long neck. It's got weird like antenna things. It's got these weird spots on it. Like the proportions are weird. It's like that thing is not normal. I don't think we realize that because giraffes are so popular, and I feel like it was kind of like once this giraffe got around people who didn't know about it, it was like people were like, that thing is weird. But I don't think you're a thing that's weird. I feel like you're weird, but in a good way, and you should own that. I don't know if you need to hear that, but that was probably because it came through, but that was the message that came through. So gorilla is showing up next, interestingly enough. Usually when gorilla shows up, because gorillas are really strong animals. I feel like they're like 4 times stronger than humans or something. Don't they weigh like 300 pounds, like 300 to 400 pounds or something ridiculous? And the message with gorilla and strength showing up, give me 1 second here. With gorilla showing up here, what's the message here? One, you don't realize how strong you are is one of the messages showing up. So you could be seeing certain challenges in the wrong light where you think you're weak and can't handle it. Because it's like someone is handing this gorilla like it's, I don't know, here's the message. Someone's handing this gorilla like a feather to hold, and this gorilla is like freaking out because he thinks like, oh my God, like what is this? Is it going to be difficult? Like, do I have to hold this for all eternity? Like, is it going to be heavy like the last thing I had to deal with? And maybe like to the gorilla, it looks like an unknown object. I don't know. But it's like if you would hold the feather, it would be the easiest thing he's held, or it'd just be very easy to hold on to. You know, like he would forget about it if you were holding on to it for so long. Kind of like some people look for their phone, forgetting it's in their hand. And that's one message for you. Like, if life is presenting you challenges, and I almost want to put it in quotation marks, things might not be as difficult as they seem, and you might step into it and realize like, oh, I'm like 2 times stronger than I need to be to even deal with these. So something like that. And I think sometimes like we've been through some stuff and it's like mountains out of molehills, I guess you could say. So I wouldn't worry about that. Any other messages with gorilla here? I feel like gorilla wants to show you your strength and show you don't need to freak out about life. Like you can handle a lot of the challenges that are thrown your way. You can handle things happening. You're not a helpless little baby. You've grown strong. And I'm not saying things are going to be difficult in order for it to show you that, but maybe you'll just get a sense of it energetically, or maybe you'll get like a vision or an intuitive, you'll get a message about it, or it's so interesting talking about like how people get intuitive or channeled messages, because there's not always words for the experience of it, but that, I suppose you could say. So you're just stronger than you realize. I feel like life is going to help you see that. And one more message for you here. I was going to pull a card, but then they just showed me the Hierophant. So why is the Hierophant showing up here? I feel like I delivered a message similar to this with this card in some other reading I did, but it's like breaking with tradition as something I'm seeing. I feel like one message is some of you feel fearful you're going to be forced into a traditional role or traditional direction in life, but it's not going to happen. Like you won't be. For others of you, I feel like in a lot of ways tradition, what's the highest message here? There's a certain amount of tradition leaving the planet, and I need to clarify this before, just so it makes a bit more sense, I feel. What I mean by that is there's a lot of breaking with tradition right now, or will be in the years ahead. Because a lot of tradition doesn't make sense, like the way certain companies are run. It's like maybe it's left over from, if it's an old company like the 1930s, and people ran things a certain way because the distribution system had to be a certain way because of the technology they had in the 1930s. But now it's like, 2022, or it's all of a sudden it's, in the example they showed me 2008 for some reason, and all of a sudden it's like there's all these other expanded technology options, but they're still running things a certain way out of habit and tradition that don't need to be that way anymore because of the expanded technology. And that's an example. But I feel like because technology is improving and people are improving and becoming more intuitive and things are evolving so rapidly, like a lot of tradition is becoming defunct, and it's important to see the purpose and essence of why that tradition is there, and not just follow tradition for tradition's sake, because that's how people get trapped in things they don't belong in, and that's can sometimes just stunt progress and growth, and not always. Of course, that's not a hard and fast catch-all message or rule, but why are we talking about this? I feel like there are certain traditions you need to break away from, or maybe it's about habits as well, and maybe you don't question why you do those things, but I would start questioning those things and be like, why am I doing this? And do we have to do it this way, or is there a better way? So, but I feel like it's about your life. But there's more. So what's Hanged Man coming out here? That's funny. We were just talking about Hanged Man in one of the other messages here. I feel like it's similar though. I feel like this Hanged Man needs to be turned upside down. He kind of needs to stop. I'm hearing the word like stop dilly-dallying. Don't dilly-dally. Stop dilly-dallying. If I can get those words out. I feel like this dude is sick of this. He's sick of hanging from this tree branch. He's sick of this tree branch. He's sick of hanging here. He's sick of the same old patterns. And they're showing like a, you know those toy trains, but they're like electric and powered, and they're like, people will build them around their like Christmas trees, or some people go really extreme and build them like around their whole house, and there's like tunnels in the walls that this train like runs through, which kind of sounds fun actually. But and I'm not gonna go where I was gonna go, but he's sick of all this. So what's up with why? For some reason they were showing like one of those going around him as he hung upside down on this like tree branch or whatever, his post or whatever it is. He's sick of things going in a loop. He's sick of things like the same old. He wants something different. He wants to like move on with his life and stop watching this train run around in loops. What is this all symbolizing though? It's symbolizing, obviously, it's symbolizing something that's looping in your life, that you're just like, I am done with this pattern. I am done watching this train toot toot around a circle around my head. It's really time to move on from something that's looping in your life, if that makes sense. Like, could be a pattern in relationships, or the same old song and dance at a job where it's like, oh, we're going to give you a promotion. Oh, maybe next year. Something along those lines. So, one, stop sticking around things that don't serve you, but I feel like it's time to turn this hangman upside down and move forward away from something that's looping as a message coming through. I feel like there's more to it though. I feel like he's also just sick of things being the same, and even just one tiny change or thing you do can make a cascade of change. So what's one change you could make that would make things different and start to add more spice, if that feels like that's you? What's one little thing you can change that adds more spice? And it reminds me of, okay, where should I go then? So I was going to go somewhere and they didn't want me to go there. Yeah. It reminded me of something that Lee Harris, who's a channeler, said, where he was like, if you feel stuck in life, it's like, where's that one area where if you made a change that you could do right now that would open up more space for you? And it's kind of like that, but it's different is what I'm getting with this message, because it's like what's one area that would add a little bit more spice if you changed it, that you have an option to change right now, and then let that be what, then you have more room to make changes. You have more spice to spice things up with, I guess, and you can go from there. I'm going to close the reading there. So I hope that made sense and resonated and was helpful. And we're going to move forward to the next the next reading here. I feel like I'm not done. I feel like there's a sword. It's actually the Ace of Swords popping up again in my intuitive visuals. They want me to bring it back here. It is about a new, that was for the earth signs at the beginning though, wasn't it? Are we still on the earth? Yeah, we're on the earth signs. Jeez. Woo. Sometimes you get a little bit, not lost, but in some ways just a little bit lost in the intuitive fields, I guess, but not really lost. It's just, where am I? But Ace of Swords coming up again here, and I feel like you're just going to get all the clarity you need to move forward is something I'm getting, so that's good. Let's move on to the air signs. I'm going to take a little sippy poo of my coffee. Okay, why do I say words? Okay, so air signs, sun, moon, and rising. This is for you, fully flashed good, you when you see it. They're showing me like a stomp rocket as I get, it was in the 90s. I remember this when I was like 6, maybe, probably younger. But there'd be like these little like tube with like a little cushion, or this little like plastic thing filled with air, and you put the rocket over the tube and you'd like stomp on the cushion. It's like poof, it would like force the air through and like force the rocket to like launch up into space here. Why is that showing up for you first and foremost? I feel like you've been like stomping on something to get something to move forward or progress in your life, but it's like the stompy pardon my complete lack of technical language, but the stompy thing is not plugged in to the stomp rocket that needs to launch. It's like you're stomping on an air cushion that's not really, the air hose isn't connected to what it needs to be connected to. And so what can you do about this? Why is this coming up fully? What would be, what's the message here? Fully fly is good here. I would take a second to just kind of assess things and how things are connected. And it could be about a business, by the way. I just like make sure all the parts are in working order, like the website links work if you're building a website or have a website for your business, that things are like making sense the way something is built, and like kind of maybe go over the blueprints or your idea for something. I feel like it's about a business, but it could be about a couple different things. Especially if you're like trying to make things work and it's just not working, like I would reassess all the parts and how they're connected. Because like something's not working is something I'm getting. I feel like it could be about a very particular area though, so just keep that in mind. Like if you're building a business and something's not working, like look at everything again is what I'd say. Like assess everything and you'll kind of see where you need to plug the stompy air stompy cushion into the air rocket. Anyways, before I start sounding like a 6-year-old again, let's move on to the next message here. Fully fly is good. I do also feel like people are going to come in to help you connect the dots here with that message regarding whatever is going on. Like someone might point something out to them. Don't discount them just because they're not someone you wouldn't. Okay. Don't discount them just because they're someone you might not typically listen to, was the sentence I heard. Because sometimes you get help from unexpected places, or the universe is like, oh, nope, they need help. And just help comes out of the woodwork. And, you know, all of a sudden, like maybe some random person has advice for you. Maybe it could even be, I don't know, they're showing me like a homeless person, like giving advice. That's the life advice someone needs to turn something around or something. So sometimes it comes from an unexpected place. But let's move on here. The next thing the first thing that showed up ahead of time for the air signs was they showed like a slam dunk, kind of like Air Jordan, because they like air puns with the air signs. You know, Michael Jordan, Air Jordan, you know. But they just said you're going to be doing a slam dunk in your life. So aside, all stomp rockets aside, that's not a slang term for something inappropriate, is it? Whatever. You're going to be doing all stomp rockets aside here. Give me 1 second to get this message. Fully fly is good. What's this slam dunk here? It could be about, I'm hearing a few different scenarios, like business. I'm hearing in health. I feel like something's coming in that's a slam dunk for you. I feel like you're also progressing to the next level in life, or will soon, like you're getting a level up either as a result of this or something like that. As far as what the slam dunk actually is, I feel like it's obviously some type of success. It could be like a business project that goes really well, or maybe you have a client that like refers you to a bunch of other clients that if you have a business and like that really helps out, or maybe you're just really rocking some aspect of life that you need to in order for things to progress. So that's good. I really feel like things are going to be progressing for you. I don't feel like you realize that actually. I feel like you think things are going to crawl at a snail pace for a lot of you, if not all of you. But things are going to rocket forward at a certain point, which is good. I feel like this is next. When is it? When are things rocketing forward here? Sooner than you realize here, maybe a month or two. I know. Well, I'm going to skip that. Next message, or is there more? Hawk spirit animal showed up, and the message was actually regal. You know how hawks can kind of carry themselves in a regal manner, or the visual that showed up was a hawk carrying itself in a very like regal way. And I know this kind of showed up for the earth signs, but air signs as well. You're going to be crowned for the highest good in a good way, positive way. And somewhat, it could even be like spiritually in a good way, like maybe sources acknowledging something you did and leveling you up, or something. It's like one thing I'm hearing as a possibility or an example. Or maybe you're just like ready for like a level up in some way, like etherically. It could also just be like receiving rewards for good work that you've done. You are also they're saying you're meant to fly a little bit higher. I think hawks typically can fly really high up. Maybe I'm thinking of eagle, but I thought hawks could too. So one message is like, don't think you're meant for low things or staying in like this lower territory. Wherever you're at right now, I feel like you're meant to fly a bit higher, and the opportunities to do so will come in. Or if you know what you can do to start doing that, I would do that, whatever that means to you. I don't know, like maybe it's kind of like, they're showing like someone playing like little league baseball, but puberty hit early. So it's like this like 6'2", like, almost looks like a military dude, like, you know, playing little league baseball with 12-year-olds. And it's like, he doesn't really belong there. It's like, and he's not, it's like, yeah, maybe it's fun to like crush homers on 12-year-olds, for like a time and just feel like a big fish in a small pond, but he kind of needs to progress in order to advance and progress his skills and like get better and be in the ballpark he's supposed to be. He's kind of wasting time in the little leagues because maybe he'll play just as well in the higher leagues, but he doesn't know that if he stays flying in that lower territory, if that makes sense. So I would try to progress a little bit higher in your life in some way, whether it's moving up in a company or it's etherically and spiritually, or I don't know, maybe you're even just not giving yourself enough credit for the work you do is something I'm hearing as another. There's a lot of different messages with that one, but let's move on here. So this message was just about spirit animals in general. It's just a reminder to pay close attention to the animals showing up for you in your life synchronistically or as signs, like they have a meaning they are speaking to you. So if you see sloths everywhere or koalas or panda bears on social media, on the side of trucks, you're walking by someone on the sidewalk and all you hear is panda bear, and then like the conversation turns muffled because you walk past and walk away from them or something, you know, all the ways that and the universe can get really creative if you're paying attention. Like the universe can do anything with signs and synchronicities. Don't limit it, but don't go crazy with it, but don't limit it. Just pay attention to those spirit animals because there's messages for you in that and they are helping you. And for some reason, that's showing up for you. Next message, a rhino, showed up for you as well as the earth signs. It was kind of the same message, honestly. Or was it the fire signs? It was fire that rhino showed up for, sorry. It's like kind of a similar message, like you being dragged forward against your will in some ways in life. Because they're showing someone with their arms folded and crossed, and rhino is like has the back of their shirt and it's like dragging them forward. And maybe you're, again, it kind of reminds me of the hawk message, but I feel like it's different. Like maybe you're comfortable in a certain area or arena and things are good. Like they're showing a factory job. Like it's comfortable just doing the same thing every day. All you do is do this motion. You just move this part over here on this conveyor belt every day. And it's comfortable. And then the horn sirens and then you go home. But it's like maybe you're meant to stand out and be a celebrity. I'm not saying every one of you is going to be a celebrity or something like that. And you kind of need to let go of the old world. And the idea is like maybe your parents forced in your head or other people in formative years where you feel like life has to be a certain way or you have to be a certain way. I feel like your rhino is like dragging you out of that and like forward to your destiny or like things you're actually meant for or out of old paradigms even. There's, again, a lot of different examples showing up for this message, but I feel like you need to move forward. So I also want to say don't get comfortable right now or with the way things have been. Like, is not the way for the highest good. It's not the way things are going to stay. I feel like things are going to improve, but you have to move forward. They're also just showing the old world crumbling, which is a common message, just always right now, I want to say. And, you know, I'm getting this message like things aren't as good as you remember. Like maybe sometimes we want to go back to something that was in the past or we want to stay put, but it's like where we're staying put, it's like the structures that held that in place are crumbling or it's just like it doesn't exist anymore or it's not supposed to, and the universe is just kind of keeping you ahead of the curve as far as things that are crumbling in the world. So I would move forward when you're called to move forward, even if it's against your will here. Next message, anything else with that? I just want to say you're rare is something that's popping up here because rhinos are kind of, I mean, they're endangered. I'm not saying you're endangered, but they're rare, and they're just, the message coming through is that you're rare as well. And you're meant for rare things. Next message, anything else here? We're pulling a card, I guess. I don't know why we're doing this more, but 3 of Wands coming out here is your card. The word I'm hearing is waiting and waiting and waiting. I don't feel like you're supposed to wait. Like he kind of needs to, there's like ships down here in the ocean and he needs to go out and get the ships. He needs to swim out to them and like hop aboard and gather the treasure and then like take a rowboat back to land. Like he's not supposed to wait. That's kind of what this rhino is talking about as well, is like not, for you, maybe not always waiting on opportunity, but seeking it out. For example, if you want to change jobs, go apply to jobs. Sometimes the universe will plop things in your lap. Sometimes you got to meet it halfway. So anything else with this Three of Wands here? I feel like waiting leads to destruction. And I don't mean that in like a good way. I don't know if it's bad necessarily, but I feel like if you're just waiting around, things are not going to go your way. I feel like you need to take action, kind of like the rhino dragging you forward, and go make things happen in a way. I feel like that's going to lead to success more than, I don't know. There's a lot of different things, a lot of different spiritual people will tell you, but what I'm hearing right now for you is going and making things happen, and just instead of just assuming everything's going to work out. That's like how you die in old age with regrets, I guess is what they're saying. It's like sometimes you have to meet the universe halfway. And I don't ever want to like stick people with that or limit people, because things can just show up magically. Things can just manifest for you, but sometimes we have to take action. So next message here, they're showing me an orange here. Okay, another card. Hierophant, we just talked about that in the last reading here. It is about a level up, actually enough. And they're kind of showing someone who, because there's like 3 levels is one way of watch the Hierophant read. Like there's 3 levels, like there's like 3 crosses on his, whatever this is, sash thing. There's 3 levels to, what would be fast for me to say here? There's 3 levels to his crown. There's 3 levels like in a bunch of areas in this card here. And it's like they were showing someone who's like stuck between like a level up, like they're stuck between levels. I feel like if that's you, you're being brought out of that really quickly, and next month you'll be free. But I don't feel like that's all of you. They're also like on the back of his throne. I've never seen this before. And on the black and gold tarot here, there's like these little circles with dots on either side of his head that look like eyes. And you may or may not be able to see it on the card, but it's like these little guys here, and they're kind of jumping out to me as eyes, and they wanted me to show it and like talk about it. So what's the message here? It's just a quick message that to not worry about evil eye. You're fine, is what they're saying. And they're giving me this message like, people will sell you fear every way from Sunday. You don't have to listen to it. You can choose your reality where either evil eye doesn't exist or you don't have to worry about it. But they're saying stop manifesting more of it by focusing on it and being afraid of it is something they're saying. And that's not usually the way I read or say things, but that's, if you need to hear it, there you go. Next message here. And, sometimes it's not really about what I believe. It's just what is for the highest good to come through for you in these readings. Blop, blop. Next message here, orange. And they show me an orange. I've been trying to get to this for the past 2 card pulls here, but they had different ideas. It's about emotional balancing. They just said, the way this came through didn't make sense to me, but I'll read it and ask them to clarify it. A lot of emotional fields will be balancing out for you, especially where you feel like you've been like releasing something dark. So sometimes there's just something going on in our emotional fields and we're like, what is going on? It's like the universe is like spurring release. The universe is releasing something that's in our way. So I feel like the universe is pulling a lot out of your energetic fields right now through different things. Like it could be through a reading someone gives you and something triggers something or spurs something and you release, or it could be like an energy work session, or it could be sound healing, it could be a number of different things. But it's time to release something dark. The universe is helping you do that, and it's balancing your fields as you do so. And it's just time for more emotional balance, I suppose. And if you find yourself acting up emotionally a lot right now, I would take a second to sit with yourself and really ask, like, why is this happening? Don't just like carry on like it's normal or like this is the way things are. It's like, yes, you can fix things about yourself. Like, you don't have to erupt emotionally. Like there's something going on, like fix it. It's kind of, and I know that I'm not trying to put pressure on you, but I don't know why the message is coming out in that like kind of choppy way like that. But it's just a reminder, like things don't have to be that way. And sometimes we get used to our patterns and we think this is just the way things are, but things don't have to be that way. There's other possibilities. And maybe sometimes people don't realize that until they see someone who's an example of a different possibility. And they're like, oh, you don't have to erupt emotionally. I don't have to get mad at my husband's for eating potato chips on the couch, I can be an allowance of it and realize that's who I married, and I knew this about him before I married him. What? I don't know why I'm saying all that, but just some examples. Not trying to poke the bear with that one. I feel like a little bit of something, anger or resentment or something after I said that from some of you guys. So sorry, but I'm not really sorry. Next message here, conveyor belt system is what they showed me. And so I know we had that factory visual show up in the previous message, but they're just saying you are not a factory. Don't treat yourself like one. Rest when needed. Otherwise you burn out. You are not a factory. So I think sometimes we see people, like, for example, posting content, pumping content out on like YouTube or Instagram or something, and we're just like, how do they do that? But they have a team, and so like then you like try to keep up with the pace, but it's just like you're one person, and like after a year it's like too much. As an example showing up for me, or maybe some other people have something going on in their life where they don't do as much work as you think they do to like pump out the content they do or do whatever they do. So try not to compare yourself, just do what you can and listen to yourself and your body and your intuition and like what's right to do. I feel like there are ways to be more efficient to keep up with those people if this is speaking to you, is one thing I'm getting. But other than that, like, it could even just be about raising kids and like being a kid raising factory and trying to stay on like robot parent mode, must take care of kids or something like that. I don't know. I know that's a big responsibility and you got to do something, but try not to view yourself as like a robot or a factory. I feel like you get it. Next message here. Well, you probably get it. Yeah, you do. Next message, charcoal showing up here. And I didn't get very far with this one. They were showing like charcoal, and then they were showing like, it looked like a Native American ritual. Like, cause you know how like they would use like paints or different things to like do like the face paint or war paint. They were showing like a Native American taking charcoal and like putting it on someone's like face with like specific lines or something like that. Maybe that's like a supplement. You know, like how they have like, what's going on here? I would consider working with charcoal in some way. Maybe like, you know how they have like the activated charcoal things. I'm not trying to diagnose or prescribe, and I'm not a doctor, but there's something about working with charcoal or working with it showing up here. I know they have like the toothpaste with activated charcoal, or like they have like dental floss with activated charcoal. Maybe consider it, see if it feels like to you. I don't think this would be, I don't know. That's just something that's showing up. I'm not getting a whole lot with this charcoal message, but is there anything else we need to talk about here? I feel like it's a kind of another message. Like, you need to not burn yourself out. It's like you need to not let the coals burn through. Like, you need to keep them like warm. I'm not saying this very well, so I apologize. But can I get the perfect? What's the highest message for them here, please? Angels, help me out. For some reason, they're giving this message of like, okay, see yourself as charcoal, and not literal or in like a self-worth sense, but just as a metaphor, see yourself as charcoal. You want a steady burn is something they're talking about. You don't want like a flame and then you burn out. You don't want to go cold. You want a steady burn to keep up a steady pace in your life. Try to find the middle ground in how you operate in your life, where you're not like burning through yourself and just like, you know, burning out. And so you're not just running cold and then there's like no purpose is something I'm getting, weirdly enough. So hopefully that makes sense as a message, but finding that middle ground. So what else would be highest message for me to bring through? There showed me a ghost next. I don't know why I'm saying this, or why they're giving me this message, but they're just saying you're not haunted. Like, there might be some supernatural experiences going on, but you're not haunted is something that. So, and the lights are flickering. And if you saw that in this room as I say that, which is funny, which could be a different sign. I mean, that can be a sign of passed on loved ones helping you, like glitches or flickering lights or something. I remember one thing a friend who also does intuitive things was saying was like, you know, when you see lights flickering, that's a sign like your great grandmother is helping you or something. And sure enough, I've seen lights flickering in all sorts of times. So thanks Thanks, great grandma. But anyways, that wasn't the message. They're just saying there are other things going on that could cause supernatural experiences, not just ghosts. Sometimes it's source, sometimes it's the universe working through certain things. So I don't know who I'm saying this to. I don't think it's all of you, but don't just write things off as ghosts is something I'm getting. Why is that important? I don't know. But what else do I need to bring through for you guys today? Maybe some of you are afraid of like being watered down in some way, but you're not. Is something showing up? But I think I'm going to close the reading there because I don't know. Hope that all made sense and did whatever if that's good for it to do for you. And there's also just a last message of they're showing me green grass and just saying like the grass is not greener. Water your own garden. It's about what other people have, and I feel like it's also things you're considering like in different industries or different things like that. And I know sometimes the grass is greener, like we make a change and like, no, it's way freaking better over here. But sometimes it's not. And I feel like this is one of those times where I would focus on yourself in your garden and your life and not worry about what other people have. Because the grass is not necessarily greener is what I'd say. So I hope that makes sense and resonates and does whatever is for that is good for it to do for you. I feel like selenite is an important crystal for you guys right now, like to either clear your fields or just to work with your gifts or something. I'd keep that crystal around right now as like a last message, like as a bracelet. They're showing me like a selenite bracelet with the beads or a piece you keep on you or something. We're going to move on to the water signs here. So I hope that was good. You're welcome, guys. They want me to move right into the water. We're cruising right along into this. So if you have a water sign, that's your sun, moon, or rising, it's for you when you see it. That might not stay up there, but that's fine. So what would be the highest must thing for me to jump into first with the water signs? Seeing clearly was the first message that came through. I think there's something else they want me to get to though first. They're showing me a buoy. For those of you who English is not your first language, if you don't know what I'm talking about, but maybe I don't even need to worry about that. Like buoys are those things that, what am I doing? A buoy, those things that float in the water and there's like a line or something that goes down to the bottom of that body of water on the ground and like anchors it, and it kind of floats as like a marker for boats and things like that. What is the buoy about here? I would do your best not to get dragged down into everyone else's stuff or drama or crap or even family drama, but try to stay buoyant and stay above it. They're reminding me of there's a group of channeled symbols called Zebu. Sorry, excuse me. And it's by a woman named Debbie, and I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but it's like Debbie Z. If you look up if you Google Zebu, Z-I-B-U, you'll see them. But there's one for buoyancy, which is this concept of like you use this symbol to stay buoyant when there's other energies going on or negative energies going on, or like at work or when you're dealing with something or people who are going through something, and it kind of keeps you like afloat, like instead of drowning in the water with everybody else, if that makes sense. And I feel like that would be good for you. I feel like you need some of that. Something I'm getting first and foremost. Because like a lot of a lot of the drama going on in your life like isn't really you. Some of the difficulties you're going through aren't you. It's like everyone's crap like getting in your boat, metaphorically. Like they're showing someone in a rowboat and the water's like getting into the boat. I feel like it's fine. Like you're able to bail yourself out, but it's just kind of a nuisance. And anything you can do to stay more energetically buoyant, whether you're doing self-energy work sessions or setting some type of intention to be buoyant, or maybe you look up Zebu and try that symbol, see what happens. I don't know. That's something they're showing first and foremost for you. I also feel like you're just going to be more buoyant in life, and the universe is going to help you out with that. And if you feel like a buoy that's like submerged underwater, like your rope that goes down to the bottom of the ocean and keeps you, anchored, if that's too short and you're like submerged, maybe the water levels rise, I feel like the universe is going to help you stay on top and like above and beyond, maybe even like on top of like a field or like the crowd. But it's going to help you stay above and beyond in some way, which is good. I feel like you also have what it takes to rise above. I feel like you sell yourself short and you don't need to. And I would really own your power and be certain about what you can do, because it's a lot more than you realize. And I just feel like you sell yourself short, and I'm getting that message. And I would stop doing that, because you're just worth so much more than you realize, is what I'm getting. It's like you think you're silver, but you're platinum. It's like, yeah, platinum looks like silver, but it's worth a lot more than silver. So I would keep that in mind. That's a metaphor. It's not literal. What else is going on with the buoy? Because I'm not done with the buoy here. I feel like sometimes with the other meaning of buoy, like life has things marked out for us in our lives as far as like direction or what's next. And I feel like sometimes, I'm sorry, I'm just dealing with I don't know what this energy is that's showing up, but sometimes like an energy pops in. I'm like, I don't want you, get out of here. So whoever that is, stop it. But or whatever. With the buoy here, they were kind of talking about how sometimes we think we need to go it alone, and like we need to figure things out by ourselves, and we need to be like they're showing me like the Pink Panther, like an investigator, like snooping out the next step, like looking for clues, and it's all difficult, but sometimes it's plainly marked, clear as day. And a lot of this next phase, like you're going to be guided through it very clearly. It's like you just have to follow the yellow. You just got to follow the buoys, follow the guidance. And so it's like kind of like this weird message. You don't have to do it alone. It's not going to be a mystery. Like life is going to guide you to the next steps very clearly, which is actually exactly what's channeled down here ahead of time now that I'm looking at this. Because the first message that came through was you seeing clearly, and it's going to be unmistakable what you need to do in life. I feel like this is like now, because they're giving me the word now, like now, or at least very soon after you see this, and just in the next phase, like next few months, next year, even, like there's going to be a lot more of you seeing clearly. They gave me the phrase blinding clarity as well. That's a phrase that originally I heard from Lee Harris when he was doing like an energy update, and he described blinding clarity as like something that's just very like in your face. And they're telling me to just use the example he used, and I just like to give credit where credit's due. I don't like to just say things other people said and be like, oh, I'm so smart. But he was giving the example of like, let's say you have a car, but then something happens with that car, and it's like it's totaled, or it's just not working anymore, or you sell it, but then you don't have a car, and then you walk outside, and it's like your habits and your pattern is you're used to that car being there, but something about it not being there this time, like the next time you walk out of your house, you're like, oh my god, like it just kind of like hits you really like starkly in like a lot of different ways that you don't have that car, you don't have a vehicle. That's the example he gave, and that's kind of funny enough, I think like when I watched that energy update that he did, I think I literally had my car get sold or totaled, and I literally didn't have a car. So that was a very on the nose message when he delivered it for me. But for you guys, I feel like it goes with the first message. Like it's this very unavoidable clarity of like, what's next? What do I need to change? What's holding me back? Where am I tethered where I don't want to be tethered? Kind of like another meaning of the buoy. We're on like buoy steroids here. That, I suppose. There's a lot of that going on. And I feel like that's like the whole rest of this like next year. I don't think it's just like the next week. I feel like this is like a good while of this blinding clarity, like left and right. I feel like it's good. It's going to lead you where you need to go. And I feel like it's something that's been lacking. I feel like you've kind of been desiring that in some ways. Next message here, I feel like I've said this to you like every reading in the past like month, but higher calling, I feel like the clarification now is it's going to be easy to get to your higher calling, because they were showing someone who was like working towards a higher calling, but they just have like one more step, where it's like there's this staircase. Those when you have to board an airplane, but it's not like through the terminal at an airport, it's like on the tarmac or whatever it's called, and you have to like there's like this like vehicle that has stairs on it that they park next to the plane, and you walk up the vehicle stairs to get onto the plane. They're almost showing it something like that, where it's like your destiny's right here, and they're showing it. I don't know if it matters how I just but it just looks like something you would step into when it's out in space, and you're on these like steps. They look like rainbow. It's like a rainbow glowing steps, but it's like they're like moving towards your destiny here, and it's kind of like you just have one more step where you're closer than you realize. It's going to be like really easy to get to that higher calling. It's like you're almost there, or you're there and you're realizing it, and that's that's the message there. Next message they showed me a rosary. This is a really interesting one here, and what the heck is showing up right here? Give me 1 second to sit with this here. Okay, they're telling me to talk about this, and I don't know exactly what's going on, but one message is sometimes what is deemed as holy, perhaps by religion, is not actually holy. And they're just saying to trust your instinct and your intuition regarding this. Like some people will sell you that something is holy for their own gain and not for your and the highest good. And like sometimes we are taught to respect things that are not worth respect. So trust your instinct and your intuition and your channeled guidance on that one, because I feel like you're being led away from things that someone sold to you as holy, but it's not really holy. And it could even be a path or like a way of being. Like for instance, martyrdom is an example that's coming in. Like people who like cause suffering to themselves because they're like, they think it gets them closer to God. And the words I'm hearing are like, couldn't be further from the truth. It's just, maybe that's a thing you go through or something you go through to realize that's not the case, but it's kind of a waste of time, suffering and like causing self-suffering. It's not really holy. It's just pain that you're exacerbating. It's not necessary. It's not helping. It's just dumb is what I'm hearing. And that's just what I'm hearing. I'm not trying to like, I'm just going to say what I'm getting. But that's an example showing up with that. Anything else that would be a specific example that would help you guys out with this fully for that's good here? I feel like this is maybe it's for you to figure out, but you need to move away from things that you were taught were holy that are not actually holy. And I feel like you'll know what these are because they're going to start to feel really bad to you energetically or in some way or something. So keep that in mind. They're also showing me something like it looks like a cardboard house, but it's like once the rain comes and the water hits it, it like falls apart. And like maybe we're sold this is a really solid structure and like really great, but then you realize it's cardboard and won't last. I don't know, something else they're showing. Like it's like as for that message. Let's move on. Hope that made sense. Clam was the next thing they showed me. This was a really weird channeled message they gave because they showed this clam and this like message showed up in these like sentences that almost I'm just gonna read it because maybe I'll okay, here we go. They showed this clam is bored with life. This clam needs something different in its life. This clam is going to get a restart in its life. It's going to get a reset where it's heading in a much better direction. That could have to do with that higher calling as well. But they were showing this clam and it's moving in this direction. And you know how clams move pretty slowly usually, I think. Unless they have some type of jet propulsion that I'm not aware of. But usually this clam is like kind of using his clam self to move along the ocean floor. And then he's kind of like bored. He's like deep sighing. But they were kind of showing like God taking this clam and like moving it to this new path or this reset where it's heading in a much better direction. I don't feel like you've done anything wrong. I just feel like certain amounts of boredom need to go. I think sometimes like boredom's okay. It's okay to sit with it. And it's sometimes boring it's like that phrase people will say, like sometimes boring is okay. Sometimes that's a good thing because it means nothing like super stupid is happening where life is falling apart. And I don't mean to use that weird judgmental word, but whatever. I feel like you could use more excitement, and the universe is going to get you on a good, exciting path. Please work words. And that's kind of it, I suppose. Or it's like a restart that really helps you out, or gets you away from something that's really boring to you. So that's it. The next message was about destiny, and just, sometimes our destiny is like closed to us while we figure things out in our life or work things out of our system. Or it's like our destiny and what that is hidden from us so that we find it at the right time and don't get to it too soon before we're ready for it. But one thing I'm getting for you guys is about to, for the highest good, be blown wide open for the highest good to you. So it's kind of unavoidable. It's unmistakable. It kind of reminds me of the blinding clarity message as well, like the unavoidable clarity, but you're going to be headed right to your destiny and it's going to be right in your face what that is. And you heading towards it, which is awesome. So I feel like some of you may have been like, you've been trying to get to your destiny, but you're not sure where it is, and that's so you weren't sure what it is, but that's okay. Like, it's okay to just be letting things percolate and letting things come to you at the right time, or letting things be figured out at the right time. But I feel like it's time for something to happen here where you see it, know it, feel it, go towards it, or it just shows up at your doorstep or something. I'm also hearing the words, it's time to take the next step regarding this. And maybe you've like got to a certain step along your destiny and then it got delayed, but it's time to move forward with it again soon, especially in 2023 is something I'm hearing. I know it's timeless, so if you're somehow watching this after 2023, it's unavoidable and it's really soon. Next message here, they showed me a bat and they just gave me the phrase, no need to fear. So you might like kind of, this showed up for a lot of the different signs. You might be called for, sorry, I'm like doing all this stuff with my hands today. I don't know. You might be called forward in big ways soon. I would heed that is what I'm getting. Kind of like the rhino was dragging everyone else forward in their readings, but I feel like it's different. I feel like it's just gonna be called forward. They're showing me a mockingjay next as like a bird. I know we talked about Hunger Games somewhere in this reading, like in the collective or something, but why is mockingjay showing up for you guys here? Kind of like the air signs had a message about spirit animals as like a synchronicity, like something to pay attention. I would pay attention to the birds that are showing up in your life and like their different meanings. Like if you Google like, I don't know, like what does pelican spirit animal mean? If like pelicans start showing up for you all over the place, or mockingjay or things like that, or finch, like there are like certain meanings to birds, kind of like birds, different birds as spirit animals, and maybe you want to look that up if you notice particular birds showing up for you, like blue herons or whatever, over and over again. So there is a lot just for the highest good opening up for you guys, opportunities, clarity, destiny, next levels, like level ups, kind of like the air signs. That was a message that was coming through. So this is a time for the highest good of opening for the water signs. It could also be like awakening spiritually, opening to true highest and most infinite source, opening to your destiny. I just feel like there's a lot opening, and maybe things have been closed for a time so you could rest, and like maybe you'd try to like move forward on something and you'd like stumble every time, or it like wouldn't work because it wasn't time. I feel like that's going to stop, and in the next few months you'll be moving forward with ease and grace and highest quality, so that'll be good. We're done. Might pull a card, but that's all the messages I had for you. 10 of Cups is what's coming in, or you're in this now. This is happiness and fulfillment that's coming and growing is something I'm getting for you. I also feel like you need this. I feel like you need to, I don't know how you're gonna, let's just get the message out. You need to not avoid your 10 of Cups, or if you start to feel happy, don't just like shove it down. I would like embrace it and feel more of it, even if it doesn't make sense. You're meant for this, and this is what's coming in. So happiness, joy, fulfillment. It could even be meeting a partner for some of you if you're single. Some of you, by the way, I'm so sorry. Some of you are even moving home is something they're showing me, because there is this home in the distance. I know this is probably meant to symbolize their home, this family here, but in the message that's showing up for me, they're moving to that home in the intuitive visuals as I'm looking at the card. So some of you might be moving home as well. I feel like that's a good move. I feel like you need to, and you'll get a lot of happiness from that. I feel like there's also a lot of grace in changes you're making, and I think you're afraid of things going south, but I feel like everything goes off without a hitch. So that's good regarding some change you're making. Is there more with this here? Like I wanted to talk about this river in the back of the card and like the word flow. I feel like things are flowing for the water signs. Things are flowing towards you right now. I would still take action on things you need to take action on, but I feel like you're going to be flowing towards new. I feel like this is like everybody right now, but new opportunity, the changes you need to make. I just feel like there's going to be more flow. Probably if you're taking action too, but I feel like you're going to, so I'm not too worried about that here. I feel like life is going to be obvious, so I would keep going with what's obvious though for you as well. Hangman coming out again. They are showing this hangman like untying himself from the branch as well. Like it came through in the last reading. What's the message for the water signs regarding this card showing up again here? I'm just getting the words no more delays. I feel like you need to untie yourself and move forward if you've been like keeping yourself not moving forward. So kind of similar to the other signs coming through here. So no more cards. I'm going to close the reading there. I hope that was helpful and did whatever was for the highest good for it to do for you. I am wishing you well. We're going to do a full... Excuse I don't know what mode I'm in where I'm just making weird noises today, but I'll roll with it. We're going to move to probably a full channel mode message. Yes, a full channel mode message. So usually I do that after the readings if you're new here. I don't feel like many of you are new here today, and that's fine. But so, one second. You're welcome, guys. Thank you. This has been awesome. Perfect. I'm glad to hear it. Thank you. Totally resonated. Amazing. I appreciate it. Oh, Destiny's here. Hey, Destiny. Water break. Yes, for sure. I appreciate it. And Rockin' Robin's here. Oh, this is as good a time as ever. Shout out to the moderators. If Destiny's here, thank you, Destiny. Rockin' Robin, I see you here. Thank you so much for being here and helping with the chat and informing people about what's going on while I'm in the middle of making strange noises and channeling and, you know, not reading the chat. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. Whoop. So, full channel mode message. Okay, so should I go through the spiel? Should I just jump in? A lot of you guys might have already seen me do this, so hopefully that's good. I'm just gonna, it'll be my spirit guides, the angels and stories channeling through me. I'm gonna step out of the way. My eyes will close. My voice will probably change. I might cough for a little bit beforehand, and then they start laughing, and then they go through the message. So I'm going to step out of the way, see what my spirit guides, angels, and stories want to say today. They're showing me a visual, and they're giving me the words golden path. One, I feel like that's what you guys are on right now, is a golden path. But I feel like this is about up-leveling your trajectory. And I find that interesting because we just did like a 50-minute channel for the membership, my membership for the members on that theme. I feel like this is going to be different and hitting different areas though. So, because it's a different group, so it makes sense. So let's see what they have to say about this golden path. And they're showing me eagle's wings. Sometimes we'll just see what they have to say. So I'm going to sit with it just a second longer, and I'm going to take about a minute, but maybe shorter, and then they'll start channeling through me. So I want to find a way to shorten that spiel, but let's get started. Fully plays good. Welcome to this channeled message for you. And of course, these are for you when you see them, like the channeled timeless readings. The channel messages are also meant to be for you whenever you encounter them. And that's what these energetics are geared towards. So there's no wrong time to encounter this channel. If you are watching this on another platform than the live format that these readings and this video originally takes, but you are on a golden path, and sit with us for a moment. You can close your eyes, but take a second to visualize, to see a golden path in front of you. And it could be rainbow, it could show us a different color, that's okay. But it is symbolizing and representing a golden path right now. Because right now what is happening in the collective is things are rearranging, and as such, people's paths need to elevate. People need to elevate. And many of you, or certain ones of you, will be called into service in greater ways for the collective as world events transpire and things get crazier in some ways, and as the collective shifts, and as people go through healing crises in their own lives because they have not dealt with their crap, and they have been holding off on that and holding off on that and holding off on that and thinking things will be okay and thinking they can hide away, and sitting with all the things that used to work to help them hide away from the world and cope with their emotions in unhealthy ways. Many of those will stop working, won't be doing the trick, and people will be forced to look at what is going on within them, what is going on ancestrally, what is going on that they need to heal. And a lot of those old patterns are leaving or not working for good reason. But because these crises will be occurring, you will be needed to help the people around you in some way heal, upshift, become who they're meant to be. And part of this next phase for humanity, this next decade, this next 100 years or so, will be about service to all. And not everyone will be on that road. There will still be the stereotypical selfish businessman, if you want to call it that, or the person who's out for themselves. And perhaps they're just healing a pattern from past life, from this lifetime, or from childhood. And that's okay. They will be on the road until things shift for them and they are forced to change their ways, whether in this lifetime or any other. But you will be called into service in small ways, in big ways, working on yourself, working with others. And there's no wrong way to do this. It is just the golden path that you are on. The golden path of being of service and the golden path of your abundance. And one key that you forget at times is that giving is receiving. We understand that could be seen as a trite message, a commonly parroted, as in parrot the bird, phrase. But it is true. And when you are of service in your path, you are also of service to you. You are also of service to your own life. And yes, there are physical things you need to look at, like balancing your self-care with helping other people and taking care of yourself as you take care of your mission so that you do not burn out and things like that. Yes, 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 yes. Ha, yes. Yes, all that. At the same time, sometimes people think selfishness is the way. And there's nothing wrong with being selfish at times. That is something that many could do well to heal, is either judging or thinking of certain things as selfish when they are really self-care. But the flip side of that, when you are of service to all, you are also of service to yourself. You are accruing good things for your life. So long as you are not sacrificing so much in a negative way that it leaves you worse off for the long haul. There must be healthy boundaries in the light work you partake in your path, in being of service as well. All that being said, you see where we are going with this. We do not need to continue on this train, or we will be beating a dead horse, as so many of you say. Such an unpleasant image. Why is the horse dead? Why are you beating it? Why would you even beat a horse in the first place? We digress. Human jokes, right? So what is your golden path for you in particular? And let's go on a visual exercise for the highest good to manifest your up-leveled path. So see before you, let's return to the visual, a golden path. And you can see it shift to whatever color you need it to be. It will be different for each of you. Some of you need lapis lazuli energies and blue energies. Some of you need silver energies or divine feminine energies or moonlight energies. So let this path transform to include all energies you need at this time. So you're getting that energetic healing from true highest and best infinite source as we go through this. And this will be very simple. Simply walk forward on your path. And some of you will meet resistance in this visual. You won't be able to. Maybe your feet are glued to the path in this exercise. Maybe you have a difficult time seeing yourself moving forward. Others of you, it'll be a breeze. You may even be levitating above your path, just flying along because you were already on that road. You were already upshifting things. No matter how things are going for you as you go to walk up along your path, whether you meet resistance, things are difficult or easy, see it or transform it as showing up for the highest good, more easy than ever. It's easier than ever to traverse this path. It is inevitable that you move forward along it. Perhaps it turns into a slip and slide and you are just sliding along it inevitably. If you are already levitating and flying above your path, perhaps you grow eagle's wings and soar faster than ever before, above and beyond the path, creating a new one higher up. See yourself gliding along this path with ease. What you're doing with this is shaking off the energetic barriers, blocks you could say, hooks that are keeping you from moving forward with ease on your path to service. And by the way, if you feel like you are going through so much that you cannot be of service to another, do not force yourself into that role. It will be difficult for you, and it will not help the other being as much as it could in most instances. Focus on yourself. Heal thyself. That is the path to helping another in that instance. And in many times, that is the answer. If you're trying to up-level yourself, you're up-leveling the all. But let's get back to this visual. Before you in this path, as you traverse about it, even if it has been easier for you, and see it as easy now, to manifest it being easier, you may see before you a wall, or maybe multiple walls, or hurdles. See these walls crumbling apart. See these hurdles breaking apart and falling off of your path. We are simply making a way for your path of service, should you be on board with this. And it is for the highest good of all of you, if you are worried. And see yourself skirting by these walls with ease. And if these walls do stop you in this exercise, in this intuitive visual, see them crumble. See them crumble before you as you sit with them. Or perhaps you will see something become available to you, such as a jackhammer or a sledgehammer. And in your intuitive visuals, use that tool that your spirit guides give you, or that appears for you, to break down the wall. Because inevitably, some of you will come across stumbling blocks as you go to change your path or up-level your path, because of stories you have, energetic barriers, things you are afraid of losing. Don't worry about any of that right now. You are not going to lose anything so important that you are going to die or wish that this had never happened. We are simply creating ease for your path. So break down that wall. Continue forward. And you are going to see your path start to shift that you are walking upon in this visual. See it turn into either a forest or nature, jungle. It's going to turn into some type of nature-esque scenery. And in this phase of the visual, you will be returning to the roots of who you are meant to be, who your soul came here to be, which is on a path of service, by the way. That is what you are meant to do, is be that. And that path of service is a part of that. See before you, in this nature scenery, a version of yourself that is fully on their soul mission, achieving it, fully on their path, the highest and best path for them, fully rocking it, as you might say, fully them, the fully soul expressed them they're meant to be, the full them they're meant to be for the highest good. See this version of you in front of you and feel the energies of that. And fully for the highest good. Step into that version of you. The version of you that's fully on their path, their soul mission, fully expressed, soul expressed, fully them. Not caring what anyone thinks. It doesn't matter to them what anyone says. They knew who their soul is. They know who they are. They are on their mission. It does not matter the opinions of others, the judgments, the words. Those things do not matter. to a being who is soul expressed. And perhaps, yes, to a human mind on the human level, those fears may still crop up, but at the end of the day, they do not matter. That is our message regarding that. And as you ground into this new version of you, this full version of you and your soul on your path of service, see in front of you a doorway. Consider yourself fully grounded in. You have made the energetic shifts you need, or will soon, following this message. We're switching gears to step through the doorway to your dream life. But this is not a dream life you made up. This is one your soul has for you that is better than what you've made up. If you are willing to go on that journey to that, step through the doorway. And this could look like anything. You may receive intuitive visuals on what this will look like. It could just be an energy. You might just see rainbows all around you. It may even look trippy. Don't worry about that. This is not a drug trip. This is all channeled and of the highest light. This is never meant to do anything detrimental. You are manifesting for the highest good your dream life as your soul sees it. And that will often be way different than any of you have ever expected. But it's going to feel so much better than anything you've ever anticipated. Because it is exactly what your soul yearns for. Exactly what will fulfill you. Exactly what you need. And it does involve being of service, like this message has been about. This intuitive exercise. This channeled meditative exercise. So feel the energies for the highest good from true highest best infinite source of your dream life as your soul sees it. And it is going to feel very good. Step into that energy. And if you are on board with this manifesting, you can say to true highest and best infinite source, yes, please, to your spirit guides, yes, please, to the universe, yes, please, this is what I'd like. And it may be a mix of the things you dreamed up for yourself and manifested on a more human level, and this show up to give you the best of both, because why not? The universe is merciful. The universe desires you to be happy in the right times, joyful, and the high frequencies, unless there is a lesson or challenge you need to go through to get you to better, to further you as a being, if that's your path. However, the universe desires you succeed in the highest and best ways for you, and the areas it matters to the universe. But sometimes it is a dance between human will and desire, soul will and desire, source will and desire. So you get both. And how could it possibly get any better than that? You do not need to limit yourself to one or the other. You can have all you desire. And we know some of you are frustrated when we say that, because it does not seem that way. You have a checklist of, okay, but then why this, and this, and this, that. You could write a whole bop out of it. But it doesn't mean it can't happen in the future. Yes, sometimes there are things that have to happen before you can have something you desire, such as this exercise we are doing. There may be things that need to shift out of the way in your life before you have your dream life as your soul sees it, as you see it, because you have not been on that path yet. Or you have, but it hasn't transpired yet. That era, that area. And sometimes your dreams shift and change on a human level. Perhaps you desire to be a rock star as an example, but 10 years later, you'll want to be a chef. Perhaps a celebrity chef. Why not? For this example. And the universe knows this. The universe knows where you're going. Yes, not everything's written in stone, but Source is everything, knows everything. So how would it not know, to some degree, where you're going at the very least? How would it not know that this is going to change? At least years in the future. And again, not every detail of your life is written in stone from the day you're born. There's a lot of leeway. There's multiple choice, as you might say. And yes, there is also a lot more destiny than you realize in the things that occur. It is a bit of both. It is all of it. And it is also what you choose. What reality do you choose? You can choose either. And that is the confusing message for some of you. You think things have to be one way. What if that's not the way it works? What if you have multiple choice, even in reality? But that could take some work to uncover if you are new to all this. So sometimes it takes a little bit of work to get to where you want to go. Where we were going sometimes Source knows what you desire will change in 10 years. So the reason what you desire right now does not show up right away is because there's something else. It doesn't mean you can't have both. It doesn't mean there aren't other ways things can work out. We're just letting you know. There are many things that could happen as reasons your dream life does not show up right away. So as we close this exercise and our tangents on the matter, which some of you needed to hear, we do not do this for no reason. See yourself back in your body, grounding in this for the highest good new you, grounding in your dream life, carrying those energetics with you. And in 3, 2, 1, see yourself back in your body. You will be back in your body. 3, for the highest good. 2, 1, back in the room. You can take a second to open your eyes if you'd like to. Wiggle your fingers and toes. You have manifested a new reality. You have manifested your golden path. Things will begin shifting. You do not need to see it right away, but it will happen. And some of you, if not many, have felt this coming with today's exercise. You felt this coming today when you woke up, this energy. You felt the shifts coming in the weeks ahead, preceding. That will start to occur more and more for you. You're becoming more aware. You are becoming more quantum and above and beyond quantum. You are simply feeling what's coming. Because again, you can feel the future. You can feel everything if you will allow it. You are not limited. And you are everything, so how could you not be able to feel into certain things? Of course you can. You are above and beyond the dimensions, above and beyond all of it while being all of it. And so many of you are taught you are just a little human. Little teeny tiny human going about day to day, caring for a baby, going to job. Yes and no. It's just an experience. And we are simply trying to broaden your scope with that message. Open you up to the higher dimensions for you. Because you are a higher dimensional creature. You are not this physical thing. And yes, you have that experience, but it's not the truth. It's an experience. The next thing we would like to get to, what can you do for your emotional field at this time? For there's a lot of release transpiring. There's a lot of emotional energy occurring. We would encourage you to get grounded in this next week to help steady your emotions and your minds, to help you sit with your emotions and process them. Go do yoga or some type of gentle exercise to get certain things out of your body that need to release. Go move, go for a walk. Movement and grounding are going to be key. If your body is in a healthy place where it can handle that, don't force anything you know your body is not capable of course. But movement and grounding will be keys to unlocking your next steps, simply by releasing the emotions that are stuck or that need to go. And for some of you, that's the one thing you needed to hear from this. Go move and go ground. It might change a lot because you're taking action to help yourself. We are almost done with our transmission. We realize this might be longer than normal. Don't worry about that. It is meant to be. How are you the gold that you seek? We know we hit on this recently. So many of you seek all these things outside of you to show you the value that you are. But you are infinitely valuable. You have infinite value on this planet. If you were not valuable to this planet, you wouldn't be on this planet. Even if there are people you don't agree with, even if there are people who do bad things, as you might think, there's a reason this exists. And perhaps you are here to transform that. If you see something that makes you think that can't be true, perhaps you're here to transform things so the intrinsic value is shown. And that is what we would like to leave you with today. We are wishing you absolutely the best for you, all the healing you need, the golden path that's for you. And we wish you ease, peace, the highest frequencies. You deserve to feel good. It's okay if you are not there. It's okay if you're going through something, but you deserve better. We leave you there. Take care and farewell. And may the highest best to transpire. That one felt good to me. Okay. Patty cake. Okay. I need water. I need a ground or something. You are welcome. That was magical. Perfect. You're so welcome. That was amazing. Awesome. You are so welcome. You are so welcome. Thank you, guys. It is always a joy to do that. I super enjoy channeling like that. So I feel like this one came through well. And, I don't always remember these afterwards, but I feel like that one felt good. Your authenticity is why I'm here. Thank you. That means a lot too. You're welcome, guys. That was much needed to hear. Perfect. That's perfect. Amazing as always. You're welcome, rising beautifully. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Good to see you, Sean. Hope you're doing great. Whew. Destiny, you're welcome. Good to see you too. Okay, I might hang out for a second. I probably need to close the live soon. I do want to let you guys know this was my first and I feel so good. Perfect. Thank you so much for letting me know. Sony today. Perfect, Muffy. I'm so glad to hear it. Thank you. You're welcome, Dana. Dana Burns Art. Thanks, Destiny. I do want to let you guys know, I'm probably not going to be going live next week, next Sunday. I believe it's Christmas. If you're in if you celebrate Christmas, or well, if you don't, I guess it's Christmas for me. I'm going to be traveling, so unless my guides have me go live in the airport or something, I don't think I'm going to be going live. My path was Mario Kart. That's awesome. Looking forward to this episode. Thank you so much, Carly. I appreciate you guys so much, and thank you guys so much for the feedback and letting me know this is helping. And I appreciate you guys so much. By the way, got a DM from you, not you and TikTok don't want people to get scammed. Yeah, I think that's a good too. Thank you, Resonate so much. Perfect. You're so welcome, and thanks for letting me know. I will, Little Moon. Thank you so much. I hope you're doing great, by the way. So there are it's just something that's common. You probably already realize this probably with any realm, but with especially like readers or like spiritual teachers, there's just a lot of scammers that like go in the comments or try to friend people and like get people to send them donations and stuff. Just don't do it. I never go out and ask for donations or message people, and I never say weird things like, oh, hello, beautiful, I am drawn to your energy. Might I perchance do a reading if you send me money? Haha. Like, no. It just no. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. Just a heads up, I suppose. So I'm probably not going to be live next week. I might be back the week after, but we'll see, because I think I'm flying back the day before, so I'll probably be able to go live after that. And I'll probably post another story just as a reminder ahead of time, just in case someone doesn't see this as well. I guess if I were to self-promote and put myself out there like that, I do have a membership, like a monthly membership that I have on my website if you're interested. If not, no worries. I still do these lives and channel and post on social media and stuff, so no pressure. But that's there. I do like those channel message, I do longer ones every month, and I do weekly channel timeless pick a card readings. So that's just, if you're interested, that's there. If not, no worries. I do have a book about, a lot of you always tell me to promote the book whenever I start talking about these things. So it's called Spirit Guides, Angels and Speaking with Source. And that's also on my website or in my link in bio. But that's just, it's to be a channel book on speaking to your spirit guides or hearing from them. It's a lot of it's about the energetic transmissions and the energies, because it's a little bit different at the same time. So that's another thing that's available. And yeah, I do have other things coming up that I'll be doing, but I don't have them scheduled yet or available. So I like energy work classes and things like that, but I won't worry about saying that. I will dive deep into your past posts until you come back. Okay, awesome. And a lot of those are timeless, so that could work out perfectly. Oh, thanks, Little Moon, for recommending the book. So I might like hang out for a second just because they're saying to hang out. I don't know if there's something I need to answer or any questions, but hey, Marina, thank you. Good to see you, by the way. Thank you so much. Can you make an audible version of the book, or if not, a downloadable version to listen? I'm getting yes, and perhaps I should. I just haven't sat down to do that yet, and so I think I will, and I'll just probably have that on my website or something, or maybe there's a way to upload it. I wish I had a better spot to record audio. This works in a lot of ways, but sometimes there's cats meowing, and usually it's when the universe is already telling me not to film or do something and I'm forcing it, and then synchronistically the universe is like, no, time for the cat to freak the heck out on you. Or neighbors start making noise and it kind of, the mic picks it up. So usually it's synchronistic, like I'm not supposed to do something at that time, but I wish I had a better place to do that where I could just sit down for hours on end and just like do that, but we'll see what ends up happening. Maybe I'll try to do it anyways. Oh, thank you, Jess Janak. I appreciate it. Cats meowing is a vibe now, though it can be. Haven't seen you in a while. Have been going through it. Missed these. Oh, well, I hope it gets better, Aspiring Human, and hope that improves. And I'm wishing you whatever would be for your highest good regarding that. Sorry. Might book another session with you in the new year because the October stuff about December is here. Oh, there you go. Yeah, for sure. And I need to open up more days on my scheduler for readings and for classes, so we'll see. we'll see what I end up what days they have. Oh my god, what days they end up having me open up next year too. So we'll see what they have me do with that. So okay, they want me to close the reading now. So I hope that I hope the live was great. I hope the self-promotion is not too annoying or boring or whatever. It's just something my guides have me do some of the lives and not all of them. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your, well, next 2 weeks, because I won't be here next week, a beautiful holiday season for those of you celebrating any holidays coming up here. And I'm just wishing you all the best and a beautiful 2023 as well. Because I don't know, this year felt like it went by so fast. I cannot believe it's already the new year, personally. But yeah, I hope you have a great new year. Self-promo is never an issue. Thank you. Thank you. Confirming a lot of things for you. Perfect. I am glad to hear that that is helping you that way. See you next year, guys. Yeah, like you said. Who is that? Quiche, if I'm saying that right. You guys are welcome. So, yep, you guys have a beautiful holiday, beautiful new year. I will see you when I see you, and I am wishing you all the highest and best for you, and may the highest and best to transpire. And anything else, may abundance find you in the new year. All right. And I'm sure we'll get into all sorts of other wishes as time goes on, but that's it. Okay. Take care, everybody. Should I close it? Yeah. All right. I'm going to close it. You guys take care. And thank you for being here, by the way. You guys rock. I appreciate you.